Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome, brothers and sisters. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on time. Thank you for your patience. We're just a couple of minutes behind schedule, but we are very much appreciative of you coming on time. Jazakallah khair. And there are still more people joining. Uh, Great to have you all here, alhamdulillah. And with just a few weeks to go before Hajj, inshallah. So really a crucial time. And throughout this next few weeks, we'll be doing several more sessions, inshallah, to get you prepared for the journey. During the journey, we'll be with you and reminding you of things and supporting you on that journey, inshallah, as well. But we wanted to do a session today just to get you in the mood for things, start preparing you, start addressing some of the questions and the concerns that you may have. And we'll a little bit later on, we'll share with you some more details of our up and coming session, which will take place next week, Tuesday, inshallah. But before that, just a reminder, if you know people who should be on the call, maybe you've got friends, family, other people that are going Hajj, whether they're coming with RAWAF or not, we don't mind. We just want to benefit as many people as we can, but especially the RAWAF customers, because some of the information we'll share today will be very valuable to them. So do let them know, share the Zoom link with them, ask them to join so they can benefit from today's session. And so what will be covered today? Well, we'll be covering a little bit about Umrah. We'll be speaking about Janazah and how to perform the Janazah prayer. It may be a very new experience for some of you, especially for our sisters who may not have experienced that before. So we'll speak about that because one of the privileges and honors that we have praying in the harams is that we'll probably be praying a funeral salah almost every prayer, if not all of the prayers. We'll talk about visiting Rawdah and some of the benefits of that, and try and walk you through some of the logistical aspects of that and how you can book that, and then deal with some of your questions, inshallah. Our aim is to try and finish before Ramadan, I was about to say, before Isha prayer, inshallah. We want to finish definitely before Ramadan, but try and, inshallah, finish before Isha prayer. We know it's a working day tomorrow, so we do want to try and provide you with this information and get you going, inshallah. But I'm going to start off by handing
MashaAllah.
over.
Sheikh
Oh,
Akhtar,
yes, please,
we,
Ray.
we actually we have some guests with us that are in other countries as well. So for them, it's the middle of the night or earlier
Uh,
in the day as well. MashaAllah.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, and just to acknowledge that from wherever you are watching us across the world, we really do appreciate your joining us, and we hope that you can understand our British accent and my sarcastic jokes, inshallah, and we hope that you'll benefit from today's session, inshallah. And thinking about that, we want to introduce you all to our Shaykh Shaqur. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for joining us this evening. It's a real pleasure to have you here, inshallah. And we wanted to start off, as per usual, with Sheikh and some points of benefit for today. It's that you can really take his vast experience and of supporting people on Hajj, as well as, alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed him with beneficial knowledge that we can all proceed from. So, Sheikh, over to you. Jazakallah khair.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah amma ba'd. One of the greatest blessings in this world is to be with your brothers and sisters in Islam and to be at their service. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made it very clear for us in the hadith of Sahih Muslim, where he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Wallahu fi auni al-abdi ma kana al-abdu fi auni akhi." That Allah is in the service of his slave as long as the slave is in the service of his brother. And what greater blessing could there be than to be in the service of our brothers and sisters, the Hujjaj, who are going for the greatest of the pillars, yani, in a person's life. And once in your life, you go and do this pillar, making everything sincere for Allah, making your whole journey and everything in that journey for the sake of Allah. Now, there is no nobler action than to be at the service of the Hujjaj, and may Allah enable that for every single one of us from the team. You can see part of the team here, and even those who are behind the scenes that you cannot see. Now, when we think about the Hajj itself, just Yani maybe a few weeks ago for some of us, and a few more weeks for others, with the different phases. It was just a dream. It was a dream to get accepted and get everything through the nusuk and everything else. And now it's become a reality for so many of you. And it is a time to increase in your shukr to Allah, your thankfulness and gratitude for Allah enabling you to be chosen. And the beginning of that journey has started. All of that hardship that you went through, every part of it was witnessed by Allah, witnessed by the angels, and all of that is rewarded. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned the hadith of Bukhari that a believer is not touched with any type of nasab, yani difficulty, trial, even the pricking of a thorn on the finger, except that expiates sins. And every trial and tribulation and calamity and difficulty that we go through, Allah rewards us and Allah cleanses us. And that is the beginning of the journey and the preparation for Hajj. We had the Ramadan before that. Yani the preparation with cleansing, cleaning the soul, preparation in terms of mindset. We had the heart being conditioned to rely upon Allah, to exert ourselves in ibadah, in drawing closer to Allah, in the first footsteps in preparation to the Hajj. Then after that, we had Shawwal and the preparation that came with that, continuing off the back of Ramadan in some of the righteous actions, the 6 fasts of Shawwal that probably all of us did. And we continued some of the actions of Ramadan, whether it was Qiyamul Layl, or whether it was Quran, or all the other deeds of charity and everything else. And now Allah has given us the privilege to be going to the Hajj, to his house, to be from the delegation that he has handpicked. Now, just think about that. Out of all of the thousands and thousands and millions of people who wanted to go Hajj, and so many of them were not given the opportunity, Allah has handpicked you for this special journey this year. So we are so insignificant in the sight of Allah. We are in dire need of Allah for every single blessing that He has given us, and we hope for so many more. And Allah chose you right now to go on this great journey that so many have been deprived of. Now, if you think about the gratitude that we owe to Allah for this one thing, just to be chosen, forget about everything that's going to happen, forget about the accomplishment at the end, but just this moment, the gravity of this moment should be shown in intense thanking and praising and exalting the Majesty who has chosen us for this special journey. So really, we need to understand right from the outset, whenever a blessing comes to us, there is a thankfulness and gratitude that we need to give to Allah by praising Him, by loving Him more because of that blessing, and then by using that blessing in the greatest way to declare His majesty for every single blessing. And then if Allah gives us tawfiq to be able to do that, the ability to recognize that blessing and recognize that He is owed thanks and gratitude for that blessing, then that is another blessing that, again, we owe Him thanks for. So the thanks that we owe to Allah is more than we can actually achieve. Yeah, Allah, and this is a mindset that I want you to carry with you throughout the Hajj. Allah loves to pardon and He loves to forgive. Just like in Ramadan, that dua that the Prophet ﷺ taught us at the pinnacle of Ramadan, Laylatul Qadr. Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anni. Oh Allah, you are the one who loves to pardon, so pardon me. Allah is forgiving, overlooking, merciful. Allah is not waiting for us to slip up and that's it, your Hajj is invalid. No, it doesn't work like that. Allah is ever forgiving, ever pardoning. He throws good deeds in your path so that you can maximize the benefit. The two mindset issues that I want you to have right at the beginning of this journey, before we talk about any of the technicalities and any of the details, is number one, the gratitude for being hand-picked and selected by Allah. And number two, remembering that we owe Allah more than we could ever give him. And he is the one who overlooks and pardons and is so merciful. And that is the attitude we need to take with us to Hajj. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. And I hand back to you, Ustad Akhtar.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Yeah, really important principles there about mindset, and going into this journey, being clear about our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, remembering that at every stage, and that knowing that Allah is looking forward to us asking for his forgiveness and looking forward to forgiving us. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Sheikh, many people on this journey will, one of the first things that they could be doing is Umrah. And for some people, they've done Umrah, but maybe a while back, or for some people even doing Umrah for the first time. We've got a few sort of stages of Umrah. Would you mind just speaking towards Umrah and the journey itself and some of the pillars of Umrah, so we can be familiar with that? Jazakallah khair.
The Umrah is very simple. People get confused and they start causing themselves distress and stress and anxiety because, okay, they've never been there, they've never done it before, etc. But Umrah is really easy. Okay, it is the small Hajj, if you like, and it's basically, you can summarize it, and many times I summarize it on one hand. 5 things. Okay, very simple. Now, like any journey, okay, you can get caught up in the hustle and bustle of the journey itself. But remember, you are placing yourself and everything that you are and that you have and everything in the world in the hands of Allah, who is the only one who controls all affairs. It might look different in the world and the structures of the world, but the only one who is in true control is Allah. And everything happens by his permission and by his will, and because of a wisdom that he alone knows. Now, you set off on the journey. Now, many of us probably end up in Medina first, where you can relax and you can prepare, and you have the pleasure of praying in the masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, being close to him. Some of us will travel directly to Jeddah, and they make their way to Makkah and the Haram, and start their Umrah straight away. Both ways, you will pass a point. If you're in Medina, you will go to the Miqat, Dhul Hulayfa. You will go to the Miqat there, and then you will make your intention there. As for those who are flying into Jeddah, you will approach Jeddah a few minutes before you land. It will be announced, and everyone will start saying the talbiyah. Okay? Right, so it gets announced you're about to pass the miqat. At that point, you will make the intention for Umrah. Okay, what's the intention for Umrah? Okay, there are the Arabic words. Allahumma labbaik Allahumma Umrah. Okay, these words that you will say, oh Allah, here I am for Umrah. Okay, you will say these words, and then you will start the talbiyah in general after you've made that intent. Now, the intention needs to be accompanied with the heart understanding that you are here at the beck and call, like every servant is to their master. And you are there at the beck and call. Every command, every prohibition you are submitting to, and it is only for Allah. This is what you're actually saying when you say the talbiyah, when you say that statement of intent, I'm here for the Umrah, that is what you intend. Some people may be doing Umrah on behalf of someone else, or even the Hajj on behalf of someone else. They would add the statement, Labbaik Allahumma Umrah an, just this extra word, and then the person's name. Okay? That's all you would add. And even if a person forgot to say it in Arabic and just said, oh Allah, here I am for Umrah on behalf of someone, or here I am for Umrah. Okay, even if they said it in English because they couldn't remember the Arabic at the time and they couldn't find their book or whatever, it would suffice. Okay, it would suffice. Okay, so if you can do it in the Arabic, you should have things present, but at the miqat, say it in Arabic, preferably. If you can't say it in Arabic, say it in English, and the intention has been made. So that's the first thing. So you say it at the miqat, not too much before. If you're flying, it's very soon before you arrive in Jeddah. So it'll be announced. Say it then. Don't say it an hour before or even half an hour before. Okay, the Prophet ﷺ wanted us to say it at the miqat. So the greatest thing, and this is what you want to do, you want to follow the Prophet ﷺ exactly as he laid out for us. Allah doesn't want you to do it early. He wants you to do this at the right time. Before that moment, even if you're wearing the clothing of Ihram, okay, and many of you will put on the clothing of Ihram if you're in Medina, you'll put it on in your hotel, you'll get on the coach, you'll make your way to Dhul Hulayfa, you'll go into the masjid there, you'll pray, and then you'll get back on your coach. The Prophet ﷺ got on his camel, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then from his camel he made the intent. So likewise, we would get on our coach just as we're about to leave for Makkah, or we'll be on the plane and we're about to land in Jeddah so that we can make our way to Makkah, and then we will say the intent, and then we will start saying the talbiyah as much as we can, loud for the men, quietly for the women, and we will repeat the talbiyah. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. And we will continue to say it until we get to the black stone and we begin our tawaf and we change our dhikr with Bismillah wallahu akbar. Okay, right. Ihram. Do we want to talk about Ihram straight away?
Just a few minor things, and we will go into more detail later on, inshallah.
Okay, so
Sheikh, if I could just come in here.
yeah, good.
One of the issues that a lot of people are asking about, obviously, mashallah, RAWAF has over 60 packages, some of which are starting in Makkah, some are starting in Medina. So one of the issues that people are asking about is, okay, my package starts in Makkah, when do I put Ihram on? I'm starting in Medina, when do I put Ihram on? I know you've touched upon it there, but just from a logistical point of view, Akhtar, if we could go back a slide, I
Sure.
think there's a quick basic thing here. So, brothers and sisters, if your package is starting in Makkah, as the Sheikh mentioned, you'll assume the clothing um, either before you get on the plane in your country of departure, or if you have an indirect flight, we advise that as long as there's enough time in the place that you're stopping, wear your normal regular clothing. And when you stop at if it's on Emirates, for example, if you stop in Dubai, I think some people have like a 7 hour layover. There's plenty of time there to kind of assume the clothing of Ihram before you get onto your flight, which is going to Jeddah. So that's for those that are going to Makkah first. If, however, you're going to Medina first, of course, you don't need to think about Ihram until you're leaving Medina. So you don't have to pack it in your hand luggage. You don't have to keep it with you. You just wear your regular clothing and you'll arrive in Medina in regular clothing. And your guide will tell you before leaving Medina to assume the clothing of Ihram. And then maybe the Sheikh can talk about the intention and from here.
On that note, something that is normal and makes life easier for the brothers who are wearing the clothing of Ihram. As we know that there's no clothing of Ihram for the sisters in that sense. We'll go into the details of that in a few moments. Many of the brothers, when they leave the UK, if they've got a direct flight, for instance, or they've got a flight with the stopover is not that long, they'll wear the Ihram, the bottom piece underneath their thobe, and then closer to the time, they will put on the top piece, either on the stopover or even in the plane as they approach Jeddah, etc. So then it's quite an easy switch because all they have to do is take off the top that they have and then they just put on the top part of the ihram. So that makes life easier when you're prepared like that. So just keep that in mind if you have a stopover or you're going direct to Saudi, directly to Makkah. So just one of the things that makes it easy. Now, the clothing, ihram itself, many people, when they say ihram, they're thinking of the two white sheets, okay? But ihram is not the clothing. Ihram is the state you enter. And you don't actually enter the state of ihram until you make the niyyah, okay? So you're not actually in ihram until you get to the miqat and then you say, Labbaik Allahumma Umrah, okay? So you're not in the state of ihram until that moment. Now, when you think about the ihram, you don't perfume the ihram itself, okay? Especially for the men, you don't do that. You can perfume the body, you can oil the hair and put perfume on the hair before you enter into the state of ihram. Right, so now ihram, similar to the word haram, okay, coming from the same root, means that certain things are now prohibited on you that were not prohibited for you before you entered the state of ihram. Okay, and you can see those things on the screen. So you can't wear perfume, you can't cut nails and hair and things like that. You can't wear normal clothing. Okay, we kind of refrain from using the word stitched because then when anyone sees any thread, they think, oh no, I've broken the ihram rules. Okay, so what you find when the Prophet ﷺ was talking about stitched clothing, he's talking about garments that have been sewn in the shape of the body. So you see, having sleeves and having this part of the shirt, etc. This is what is meant by stitched clothing. It means it's fashioned in the shape of the body. So you can't wear that. So you wear the sheets, which also have threads. You wear the sheets, which are not stitched in the shape of the body. Right, so that is the ihram clothing that men have to wear. Now, when it comes to women, sorry, if you just go back one slide.
Yeah.
If you go to the women, do they have ihram clothing? No, they don't. Okay? The restriction for women, because our sisters have been given a uniform that they have to wear all of their lives once they hit the age of puberty and beyond. Okay, they have the hijab. For ihram, they have no specific clothing, so they can wear their normal hijabs, their normal jilbabs, and that's perfectly fine for them. They can wear shoes and they can wear socks. It's not a problem. The only two restrictions they have is they cannot wear gloves to cover their hands, and they cannot wear the normal niqab, which is tied around the head and then drops. Okay, they can still cover their faces in the presence of men, but they would pin something to the top of the head and that it flaps openly across the face like this, and it's not tied around the head. The Hanafis believe that it should not touch, if it's going to cover the face, it should not touch the face as well. But that's a minority opinion held by the Hanafis. So either way, they can still cover their faces, but it needs to drop from the head and not be tied around the head. And it doesn't touch the face for the Hanafis. As for the majority, they can cover their faces, and it doesn't matter if the face covering still touches the face, but it just needs to be dropping from the head, and it can even be part of the scarf, etc., covering the face, but not tied like a normal niqab. And they can't wear the gloves to cover their hands. And if they wanted to cover their hands, they would cover it with a long sleeve or put it under in their pockets or something like that. Those are the only two restrictions in the clothing for sisters. So sisters, you can still wear your trainers, your sandals, socks. All of these kinds of things are perfectly fine for sisters. The other restriction, which is for both brothers and sisters, when you are in the state of ihram, obviously you cannot engage in nikah, a marriage contract, and you can't engage in marital relations while you are in the state of ihram, and you can't engage in any kind of speech or behavior that would lead to yani intimate relations or that which is similar to intimate relations. Yeah, so any just normal behavior, being nice to your spouse and holding your spouse's hand to make sure they don't get lost, etc. This is all perfectly fine. It's anything that would be seen as, what's the right word, brothers? Rayhan and Ustad Akhtar.
Yeah, I think anything of an affectionate, intimate type
Yeah,
is
that
what we're referring to.
affection is yani perfectly fine. Okay, yani if you think the Prophet ﷺ would give
Allah.
his wife a peck on the cheek before he left the house, something like that, a peck on the cheek, which is normal kind of everyday behavior, not leading towards anything. That's perfectly fine. Affection in yani, holding them, so if they're scared or even something major happens that they get very frightened, hugging them even, all of that's perfectly fine. It's
Mm.
anything that would be of an intimate nature,
Yeah.
that is something that should not be done. Okay, so these are some of the key rulings of ihram. And if there's anything any more than that you require, just mention it in the chat or the Q when we open up for Q&A, or even just mention it in the chat now, and then it won't be left behind. طيب, I think we mentioned the intention at the miqat, لبيك اللهم umrah. Okay. And the wording, and if you said it this way or that way and you move the words around, not too much of an issue. And as I said, even if you said the English because you forgot the Arabic and you didn't have your book at hand, perfectly fine. This is the talbiyah, and don't worry about it. The airplane
Yeah.
will erupt with talbiyah. Yep,
So, Michael, sorry, just in regards to the questions we're receiving while we're going along, it might be handy just to tackle a few of them.
yep.
So, with the intention, what happens? Who tells the people? So, Akhtar, I think we've got quite a bit of experience in this. If you're on a plane, a direct flight, for example, from London to Jeddah or anywhere to Jeddah, and you put the clothing on, how do you know when to actually make the intention? What happens?
Yeah, very good. So your very kind pilot will let you know, inshallah. So they'll announce it, and they'll usually give a couple of announcements. They'll say something maybe 10 minutes before to give you a little bit of a prep time, and then they'll announce it. And if you didn't hear that announcement, don't worry, you'll see the rest of the plane shuffling around and getting ready to put on their ihram. So you'll be fine. But the main thing to listen out for is the announcement that they will do by the pilot over the Tenoid system to let you know that they're approaching the Ihram.
And that's the one point in Hajj where unfortunately you won't get a WhatsApp notification. You're going to have to actually listen in real life.
Yeah, very good.
There's another hack for this as well. So if you work it out, it takes half an hour for the plane to land, and it's about 10 minutes before that. So 40
Yeah.
minutes roughly before you land is when they start telling you.
Hmm.
So, and you just keep that in mind. Some people, especially those from the UK, we're supposed to be on time and all these kind of things. Yeah, we like timetables and itineraries and things like that. So if you want to work it out, it's roughly 40 minutes before you land, roughly.
Sheikh, question here. If I'm stopping at Riyadh, can I put my Ihram on there?
Right. So what you will do, you're going to go to Riyadh and then you're going to fly into Jeddah. So in Riyadh, nice airport. Um, so you can use the bathrooms there, put on your ihram, etc., and then you'll be ready when you board your flight to Jeddah. Again, they'll tell you as you approach the miqat, and then you'll just put it on and go in, make the intention. So you can put everything on in the bathrooms in the Riyadh airport, and then you're all set. And it only takes, what is it, hour and a half or something, the
Hmm.
flight. So you're ready, and then you will make the intention when you get close to landing, inshallah.
And a question here about Ihram. Are we allowed to put perfume on the Ihram itself, the clothes of Ihram for the men?
Okay, I answered this question. I said it. I preempted it.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. So this person asked it maybe before I preempted. So
I think there's
no,
3 or 4 questions we know are going to come up, right? So sandals are going to come up. We know that
no,
one.
we don't want to talk
Ihram.
about sandals.
Oh
We had this
no.
in the
Yeah.
seminar, didn't we?
Uh,
That's why I said the mindset. Allah is merciful. But
yeah.
anyway, we can talk about sandals a little bit, I suppose. Like, so the perfume one, you don't perfume the ihram, the clothing. You perfume your body. You perfume your hair. You perfume your beard before you make the intention. So when you're in the bathroom before, either in your Medina hotel, either in yani in Riyadh or Emirates, wherever you are, when you put on the clothing, way before you make your intention, you put the perfume on, etc. Or
Mm.
even just before you pass the miqat, you put on a bit of perfume. You want to smell nice before you start the intention. All good, but don't perfume the ihram, the clothing. Perfume your body, your hair, and then you're good to go.
Rehan, can we change on the plane? Somebody's asking.
On Saudi Airlines, there is a prayer room, but they get very upset if you use it to change, and it can be quite embarrassing because people don't often have the courtesy to let you change. So you might be mid-change and somebody opens the curtain, so it's not advisable. One thing that some brothers do is they'll stand up and hold their towel or ihram in front of the seat where someone behind the towel is changing. Um, it's not the best idea. As Sheikh Shaqur mentioned, the bottom half of the ihram, put it on before getting on a direct flight and just change the top half, which is quite easy to do when you're on the flight, inshallah.
Yeah.
And
Sure. Some
getting changed in the toilets on the plane, I wouldn't advise that either because that's a very cramped space. And if you're a bit big like me, then it's very uncomfortable to get changed in those toilets.
They might be trying to practice for Muzdalifah, Sheikh, to experience a little bit of the.
Now that experience is go to any car park, have a lie down on the floor. You'll get an experience of Muzdalifa's like.
yes. I think we're gonna move swiftly on. With regards to Ihram,
Don't worry, brothers and sisters. There's carpets there as well. So
MashaAllah.
Muzdalifa's not that bad.
yeah, lots to look forward to, definitely.
Inshallah.
Um, Sheikh, do you know some of these Hajj guides, like booklets that we have, has a string around it with some notes, like on some sort of like laminated or lanyard type style. Is that okay to wear? Mustaq is asking, is that okay to wear whilst in Ihram?
Yeah, perfectly fine. Okay, so what can you not wear?
Mm,
Anything that is clothing, shaped like your body. Okay. So what does that mean about what you can wear? Glasses, sunglasses, perfectly fine. You're wearing some ID badges and wristbands, etc. That's not shaped as the body. It's just a ring that you're
mm.
putting on. So a ring, you could wear that. A watch, you could wear that. A belt, to yani, secure your ihram, you could wear that. You've got safety pins. Yeah,
Glasses?
put them on. Yeah, glasses definitely. You can wear those. So those types of things, even knee supports. That are those round kind of
Knee
tube type
straps.
things, wrist supports and things like that. All fine. They're not shaped in the shape of your body. Okay. So the only problematic things are the things shaped in your body. Now, for the brothers, you can't wear shoes and you can't wear socks when you go into the state of ihram, because that's shaped like the body. And the Prophet specifically said you can't wear the shoes, the normal shoes. Okay, so sandals. Okay, sandals not a big deal as long as if you look at it, it's a sandal. It doesn't cover the majority of your foot. Okay, and it's not a shoe. Crocs are a bit problematic, so stay away from them because they cover so much of the foot. The strap, some people get hypersensitive about the strap that goes around the back of your foot.
Mm.
Yeah. And they get paranoid about this. When you look at the whole thing, it's all empty. The top of your foot is uncovered, and it's got a little bit at the front of your foot where your foot fits into, and it just got a strap at the back. That's perfectly fine. Okay. Some people think that you have to wear what those things called sliders. The
Mm.
only type of
Flip-flops.
yeah, the flip-flop with the thing that goes between your toes. That's the
Very
only acceptable
uncomfortable.
one. Huh?
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. Yeah, and I cannot wear that type of thing. Does my yeah, and it causes bruises and
Mm,
cuts between the toes. I would not advise wearing those. Um, and if you have sensitive feet, which is very likely if you're from the UK, because we always walk around in shoes, etc.,
mm.
that's going to mess up your feet. And if your feet get messed up in Hajj, you're going to have a very difficult time. Don't do it to yourself. Okay? Perfectly fine to wear a good pair of sandals that have grip and a good sole that protects your feet, makes life easy, and have a any that bit that goes around the back of your foot so it's secure, it's easy to get on and off coaches and move quickly, etc. No issue with it whatsoever.
Yeah, very good. And Fahad makes a point just to remind everybody, you cannot cover the head whilst in ihram. So
Yeah,
that's a
Jazakallah
very
khair. Yeah, for the men, you can't cover your head. So even when you're sleeping, you don't put something over your head. You don't wear a hat. Your head needs to be uncovered. And just think about that. You are going to be presented in front of Allah Yawm al Qiyamah as you are.
Hmm.
Nothing can be hidden. Just imagine. We all feel it. Yeah, when with the brothers, when we go into that ihram clothing, you feel exposed. You're meant to, because in front of Allah you are exposed.
Hmm.
Whether you understand that or not in your normal day-to-day life, you are actually exposed. Allah knows every statement, every action, every thought that's going through you. Allah knows everything. There's nothing hidden. So Allah makes you feel exposed because in front of Him, you are exposed. There's no hiding, there's no running, there's no getting away. So that feeling is good for us because it's for Allah and it makes you realize, yeah, there's no hiding. In front of Allah, everything's clear, open. The secret is like the open. So just remember that when you start feeling a bit awkward because you're wearing those clothes.
Yeah, could you speak towards a little bit about the tawaf and and then we'll move the conversation on a little bit from there, inshallah.
Okay, so as I said, you can summarize the whole of the Umrah on one hand, on five
Mm,
fingers, yeah? The first of those five things is the tawaf itself. Okay, so we're dealing with number one, the tawaf. I'm going to start with my thumb and go round. Okay, so tawaf is number one, and what you will do, you will go into the haram. Okay, and normally, the group will go and they'll show you where you're going, give you some directions, um, and then you'll probably split up into smaller groups of three, maximum five, so that you can stay together with your family, your friends, whatever, when you go and make the tawaf, because you can't really stay together as a big group. Okay, so you'll see the doors, you'll be given direction, even you might go together into the mataf area, the beginning, to the escalators or the steps to go down into the main tawaf area or the mataf area, and you will see the Kaaba. Normally, you enter through the main gate and you can see the Kaaba in front of you. Now, when you see the Kaaba, it's important for you to remember the first time you see that Kaaba, emotions may overtake you. And it is the most emotive moment probably in your life because, as Allah said in Surah Ali Imran, Inna awwala baytin wudi'a. This is the first house for the worship of Allah. Bibakka, this is the exact location where Allah defined for Ibrahim alayhi salam to build Al-Kaaba. First house ever in the earth for the worship of Allah. This is declaration of the majesty of Allah, and everyone should turn to it. And this is that moment you first see it in real life. Right? That you have to remember. Ibrahim alayhi salam was alone. It was desert. There was nothing here. Then you look around and you witness all these people coming from every corner, every entrance, and in droves. This is the actualization and manifestation of that call Ibrahim alayhi salam made in an empty place where there was no one and nothing. And Allah said, I'm going to cause the people to respond to your call. And he was the one who asked, how is anyone going to hear me? There's no one here.
Mm.
And that happened. Right. So don't lose sight of the reality that you are witnessing. We are the response to the da'wah, the call, the message, the legacy of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Right. So when you see the Kaaba, that's what you should be thinking. That's what you should be feeling. And you walk and you join the crowd as it's going around Al-Kaaba until you get level with the black stone. You don't need to look for the markers, although it's helpful, the green light, which is on your right-hand side, and the Kaaba is on your left-hand side. And you see when you believe you are level with the black stone, then the men will uncover their right shoulder and they will keep it uncovered for all of the 7 circuits. And then you will raise your hand like this and you will say Bismillah wallahu Akbar with your palm towards the black stone, towards the Kaaba. Once you've said Bismillah wallahu Akbar, you will continue walking, and in the first 3 circuits, you will walk short, quick steps, okay, for the men. And you can stay with your family that is going with you, the women folk. You will take short, quick steps, and they will walk normally. And that way you can keep together at the same time. And even if you can't walk quicker in those short steps that you are meant to do in the first 3, it's not a problem. Your tawaf will still be valid. So you'll go around until you get to the corner before the black stone. The Yemeni corner is the one before the black stone. And between that one and the black stone, you will say, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Say it as many times as you want. And this is the comprehensive dua to end each circuit of the tawaf. Okay, so if you think you're making all types of specific du'as that you want, and then at the end of each round, you're making a very comprehensive du'a, which is one of the most frequent du'as of the Prophet ﷺ, as the companion Anas ibn Malik, the servant of the Prophet ﷺ, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, said. Okay, so the comprehensive one comes at the end of each circuit. Right, so now you are getting round to the black stone again. When you get to the black stone, you will signal and you will say Allahu Akbar, and you will continue moving. So you will do that 7 times, okay? Signaling each time. You signaled before, yani at the first one when you started, and you've done it every time round. And so the second to last, on the 6th round, you've signaled, that will be your 7th time you signaled. So on the 7th one, when you complete, you will not signal again, okay? So you won't signal again once you get your 7th one done. You will just walk off and make your way to the face of the Kaaba, which is the face with the door on it, which has Maqam Ibrahim behind it. So find a safe space well behind Maqam Ibrahim. Don't pray right next to it, as you see in the picture there. Dodgy pick that one. We don't want people to pray there because people will be making tawaf, and then you will cause havoc for them. And remember, Allah is merciful, loves those who are merciful to His creation. Yeah, as the Prophet ﷺ said, "Irhamu man fil ard, yarhamkum man fis sama." Have mercy on those on the earth, and Allah will have mercy on you. So go well behind, out of the way. Find a safe spot so you can concentrate on your 2 rak'ah that you're going to pray, and no one comes in front of you and you don't disturb others. So go pray your 2 rak'ah. In the first rak'ah, behind Maqam Ibrahim, as long as you are on the same face of the Kaaba, you are behind Maqam Ibrahim. So you don't have to be directly behind Maqam Ibrahim. If you're on that face of the Kaaba, you're behind Maqam Ibrahim. Right. Pray your 2 rak'ah. First rak'ah, you read Surah Al-Fatiha, then قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ. Second rak'ah, you will read after the Fatiha, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. And those are the 2 rak'ah. Nice and short, nothing too long. You can say the verse with Maqam Ibrahim in it as you're walking towards there before you start the salah, but that's something extra. Then, after you've prayed, you will make your way to drink some Zamzam. Okay, and
Sheikh, sorry, can I just ask?
yep.
Before the 2 rakat, the male pilgrims recover the shoulder or leave it uncovered?
Yes, good. Jazakallah khair for reminding me. Before you pray, whenever you pray, you should have your shoulders covered. Okay, so after you finished your 7 rounds of tawaf, cover your shoulders before you start the prayer. And most people, once they finish their 7, they cover their shoulders straight away. Okay, so do that at least before you start to pray. Okay, so once you've prayed, then you'll make your way to Safa, and you'll find on the sides plenty of Zamzam. And sometimes as you're making your way, you will see the containers of Zamzam. So you'll have as much Zamzam as possible. Prophet ﷺ said, Zamzam is for whatever it is drunk for. So make dua as you before you start to drink, and drink and fill yourself with Zamzam. That is the sign of the believer, and that's what the Prophet ﷺ used to do. And he even would place some of the Zamzam on his head. And if it's hot, especially, that does 2 things: following the Prophet ﷺ reward, and secondly, cools you down as well. So that's something the Prophet ﷺ also used to do. And you make your way to Safa, which is on the right-hand side. Safa is that side, the right-hand side, and you will go there, and you will face the Kaaba. You will turn and you will raise your hands and you will make dua on Safa. Okay, any dua will do. And if you start with the du'as that are written in your dua books, in the Safa wal Marwa, you start with the verse and then you read the other du'as, that is even better. But even if you were not to say any of that and you were just to make dua, perfectly valid. Okay, your sa'i would also be valid. But you started at Safa, and now you have to go 7 times between Safa and Marwa. Safa to Marwa is 1. Marwa to Safa is 2. Safa to Marwa is another 1. That's 3. Marwa to Safa is 4. Okay, so you will do 7. So you will complete, because you started at Safa on the right, you will complete on the left-hand side, if you were looking at them. You will complete down at Marwa. Your 7th one will finish at Marwa. Okay. Don't get confused and think that Safa to Marwa and then back to Safa, going back to the beginning, that's 1. No, that's 2, not 1. So you will not finish at Safa, you will finish at Marwa. Right, each time you get to Safa or Marwa, you will stand and make dua. On the last time, when you get to Marwa at the end, you won't stand and make dua. That's your 7th one, you're done, you finished. Okay, as a rule of thumb, when you finish, there's no dua. Whether it's to do with the Jamarat, whether it's to do with your last tawaf circuit, whether it's to do with your last circuit of Safa and Marwa. The last one, you don't make dua. Okay, that's where you complete. Right now, you've done your your sa'i between Safa and Marwa. The only thing left for your Umrah is to cut your hair, to either shave it completely, or to trim it, or to cut off the one little bit of your hand. Your finger is broken up into 3 bits. One of those from the end of the ponytail for the sisters, which they normally do back at the hotel. Okay, and once you've done that cutting, you have completed your Umrah. As simple as that. So if you think about it, it was the tawaf, then it was the prayer behind Maqam Ibrahim, then it was drinking Zamzam, sa'i, and then you had cutting the hair. 5 things, and that's it. 5 things again: tawaf, praying behind Maqam Ibrahim, Zamzam, sa'i, cutting the hair. As easy as 1 to 5. That's it. Umrah done, reward banked with Allah, prepared for the Hajj, the big event, the main thing that you're going for, the Hajj. That was practice. You got to see the Kaaba. Those emotions start settling. You get used to the crowds. get into the flow of being in the haram. Okay. What you will find after every prayer, and it might happen, you might be making tawaf, you might be making sa'i, and the obligatory prayer comes, everything stops, everyone lines up, you're praying. After the prayer, everyone remains seated and they're waiting for the announcement for the janazah. Okay? The janazah is announced, everyone stands up again. Okay, now, the janazah salah is so virtuous, yet so simple. The Prophet ﷺ told us that every janazah prayer you pray, no matter where you are, you will get a mountain's worth of good deeds just by praying the janazah. And if you follow the janazah after the prayer and you follow it to the burial and you are there at the burial, then you get 2 mountains of good deeds. What is this mountain? Like Mount Uhud of good deeds. Right, how long does the janazah take? It's just du'as and takbirat. There's not even any bowing or prostrating. And it takes literally a couple of minutes. A long janazah prayer is like 5 minutes. That's a long janazah. A normal janazah prayer is going to take what? 2 minutes. That's it. Okay, 4 takbirat, the du'as that I said, and that's it done. Right, so the Prophet ﷺ told us that this, just by praying it, you have a qirat, a mountain of good deeds. So do not move, do not go anywhere. And even if there's something happening, you have to leave, you could be leaving, and then when you hear the janazah start, stop where you are, just join the lines wherever they are, and pray the janazah, you get the reward. Okay, so it's very simple. Now, in the janazah, you have the first takbir, and you will read the opening supplication, or you'll read Surah Al-Fatiha, or you'll read both to bring both opinions together. And all of that is perfectly fine. Then you will have the second takbir, and then you will read Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad, like we read in Salah. Then there will be the third takbir. After the third takbir, this is where you read this dua on your screens, or other du'as similar to it. Allahumma ighfir lahu warhamhu wa'afihi wa'fu anhu, the longer du'as. Or even if you didn't know any of these, you would say Allahumma ighfir lahu warhamhu. Okay? So you will be praying for the deceased. And that would suffice. Okay? And even if you didn't know it, and you didn't say a dua because you didn't know anything, and you tried to just learn that phrase, Allahumma ighfir lahu warhamhu, even if you didn't, your janazah would still count. As long as you did the takbirat and you did the salam, your janazah would count. So you had the 4 takbirat, and then you would have the salam, and that would be it. And in Saudi, they only do 1 salam, which is different to those of us who are used to praying in the Hanafi fashion, which we do both salams, or the majority of masajid do 2 salams. But in Saudi, they do 1 in accordance to the Hanbali madhab. They just do 1 salam and they finish the janazah prayer. Okay? When you're in Medina, you will have an opportunity, and you definitely should follow the janazah prayer into Baqi at least once. So you get that reward, and that you are able to give salam to the companions that are buried in Baqi, next to the graveyard, next to the masjid rather, the graveyard next to the masjid. So make sure you do that at least once during your stay. If you do it more often, then it's even more reward. The last thing, the Rawdah. The Rawdah, you have to make the bookings. I'll let Ustad Rayhan and Ustad Akhtar talk about the booking side of things. The Rawdah, as the Prophet ﷺ said, ما بين منبري وبيتي روضة من رياض الجنة. What is between my house and the minbar, my minbar, it's the old minbar, not the new one, and you'll see it there, preserved, the positioning of it preserved. What is between these two is a garden from the gardens of paradise. So now you are in the second greatest masjid on the face of the earth, with the great reward attached to it. 1,000 prayers in any other place, and there you are, or 10,000 in other narrations as well. So the second greatest place for you to pray. And also on top of that, you are now in the best place in that masjid, a garden from the gardens of paradise. So obviously, prayer in that place and as much dua as possible in that place, as much dhikr as you can in that place. You won't have that long, but what I say to people, maximize it by in your prayer. The Prophet ﷺ told us that reading Qul Huwallahu Ahad is like reading a third of the Quran. Reading one of these surahs is like reading a quarter of the Quran. إذا زلزلت الأرض زلزالها إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح قل يا أيها الكافرون. These three surahs, to read them, and every one of us knows them, and they're so short, is like reading a quarter of the Quran. So when you have that limited time, use these surahs, and it's like you've read a huge amount of Quran in that salah of yours. And in sujood, especially, if it's a voluntary prayer, and most of us will be in the Rawdah in voluntary prayers, it'll be an extra 2 sunnah that you're praying. You will say du'as as much as you can, and even if it's a sunnah prayer, an optional prayer, you can even make du'a in your sujood in your own language. So ask Allah as much as you can. So let me conclude there. And then we'll leave it to you guys to talk about the logistics of booking the Rawdah and the rest of it, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Jazakallah khair. Rehan, can you speak towards booking the Rawdah and any tips and advice on that?
Sure. So, in general, you can't actually visit the Rawdah without booking it in advance through the Nusuk app, through the official Nusuk app. We made it a little bit easier for you, hopefully, by just putting the QR code. So those of you who are on Android devices, you've got that there, and the people on Apple, the ones on the right. So just scan that and it'll open up the app, download the app. You will need two things. You'll need your visa number and your passport number to activate your Nusuk account. And then you should be able to book within 1 month advance. So those of you that are going to Medina first, you should be able to book your slot now. Because as far as I checked last, they were taking bookings up until the 30th of May. So those of you that are going to Medina after Hajj, you probably won't see the dates available for yourselves at the moment. So just keep checking on a daily basis. They do open it sporadically, so it's not a definite science. So just keep checking, and you'll see the dates open up day by day, inshallah. Once you've booked it, please don't cancel it, because if you cancel a booking, sometimes it blocks you out because you've already had a booking in the last 12 months. And there's lots of people having issues where they've been for Umrah and they've used it within the last 12 months. The basic thing to do is to kind of delete your account and reinvent your account so that it's a fresh account. That's pretty much it. There isn't much more than that. The times are all there for brothers and sisters. We cannot book it as a group. We cannot book it for you. It has to be done individually by yourselves, using this app. Aside from that, of course, you can team up with your friends and family to try and get the same slot, but they are quite strict. So please do bear that in mind.
Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Very important there. So brothers and sisters, do have a look at that. Try and get that in as early as possible, inshallah. Our
That's not
favorite, Dubai
this isn't
destination.
needed today.
All right, good. Thank
Let's
God
get
for
off
that.
that one. We can get off
Yes.
that.
Let's try and take some of the questions, and I'm conscious of time. But we do have some
Can I
questions.
just say, Akhtar, before we take the questions,
Sure.
that today's session is geared around Umrah, Janazah prayer, and Rawdah. So we won't be taking questions that are not to do with those topics. We're going to have an operational webinar which is fully focused on a lot of the things that people are wanting to talk about. Flight times, baggage allowance, luggage tags, all that kind of stuff. But that's not today. So bear with us for that, inshallah. That'll be next week.
Yeah.
Can I just say also, um, you know, inshallah, I'm going to be with you on the trip. If you ever see me anywhere, come up and ask whatever you want to ask. I'm there for your service, okay? And I'm there to gain as much reward as possible. If I'm not helping you guys make your Hajj and answering the questions that are bothering you, I'm not getting the reward. So don't deprive me, don't deprive yourself. So feel free. Anytime, anywhere. Many times I've been in the markets and I've seen some of the Hujjaj, etc. And they ask the questions. Sometimes you're standing on the side after you've done your stoning, etc., and someone comes up. It's all good. Okay. The more we can help the Hujjaj, Rayhan is the same, Akhtar is the same, the whole team is the same. The more we can help you, the greater the ajr, the greater the benefit, and that's what we're there for.
That's right. And you'll find Sheikh at most ice cream stalls just there,
No,
coincidentally
no, I
waiting
like
for
the
you.
juices. I don't really
Oh,
like ice cream.
juices at
I
juice
forgot.
stalls, coincidentally waiting for you to offer him a request. Okay, let's have a listen to a few people's questions. We have Benunza. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing your name, but you have a prompt to unmute. Hopefully, your question is related to Umrah or Rawdah. Um, you raise your virtual hand, and you should have a prompt to unmute. Go ahead with your question, please.
You mean me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam,
No.
salam.
I joined a little bit late and I have a question about the Ihram. My question is, I'm flying over Dubai, also I fly London, Dubai, Dubai, Jeddah, and my guide for now say to me he will give me the Ihram in Medina. So I'm not sure. I have to make to wear the ihram in the plane
Mhm.
and make my niyyah also in the plane, or I make my niyyah um, at the border before Mecca, or you know what I mean? When we
Yeah.
travel from Medina to Mecca, where is the point when I take my ihram and make the niyyah for me when I start in Medina?
Yeah. Can I just clarify? Did you say that you're traveling, your first part of your journey, you're going to Makkah or you're going to Medina first?
يعني first Medina and after Medina, inshallah, Mecca.
Got it. Okay, so you fly from Jeddah straight to Medina. You're going to be
Yes,
staying there for
it's quite a common question because you're landing in Jeddah. You think that you're just asking, do you need to assume ihram because you're within the boundaries of
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
ihram zone?
I
Yeah,
first land in Jeddah,
yeah,
and after Jeddah, I think I take the bus and go to
yeah.
drive to Medina.
Cool. We'll let Sheikh answer
Okay.
that first
So,
and then we'll mention
so
something.
here you're not making Umrah. So therefore, you don't make the niyyah for Umrah at all. Okay, let me explain the right way to do it for you, and then I'll explain the wrong way if you did it, what that means. Right.
Hmm.
So the right way for you is no wear your normal clothing, no niyyah for you when you get to Jeddah, because you're going straight to Medina. You're not going into Makkah at all. Okay.
Okay, okay,
So there's nothing for you to do. You go in your normal clothes, you get to Medina, you relax, and when you with the rest of your group goes to Dhul Hulayfa, the miqat, when you're leaving Medina to go to Mecca, then you will assume the clothing from your hotel.
Hmm.
You'll board the bus, you get to Dhul Hulayfa, make your intention, pray, make your intention, etc. And then you'll come to Mecca, and that's your ihram done. Right.
okay, okay, perfect. That's answered
Don't
my question.
don't do it the other way. Don't make ihram because everyone else is saying labbaik Allahumma. You could say labbaik Allahumma. Yeah, with them, it's a dhikr. Okay, but don't
Okay,
intend you're making umrah because if you do, you have to abide by all the ihram rulings during your whole trip in
in
Medina.
Medina.
So don't do that
You'll be the
Okay,
only
Sheikh.
one in Ihram in Medina,
from
Yeah,
your whole
yeah,
and
group.
people will be pointing at you.
yeah. Okay, shukran. That's good information for me. Okay,
We're
perfect. Thank
glad
you.
you joined to get that clarified. Really
Yeah,
good.
perfect.
Perfect.
Thank you.
And we're
Jazakallah
glad
khair.
you asked that question to give us a good smile on everyone's faces, mashallah. May Allah reward you.
Yeah,
Jazakallah
Jazakallah.
khair,
Yeah.
Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum.
Excellent. Wa
Alaikum
salam.
salam.
Thank you for your questions. Jazakallah khair. Let's hear from Adil. Adil, you should have a prompt to unmute. Go ahead with your question, please. Jazakallah khair. So that's Adil Jalul. Uh, you should have a prompt to unmute, Adil. Okay, not sure you can see that. Let's ask a few of the other questions. We're going to keep the questions specifically with regards to Umrah and Rawdah and Janazah prayers. Some of the questions that people have asked are related to other topics. We will cover some of those in our next session, inshallah. So don't worry, we will get to that. duh, 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 duh. Yeah, so Fahad asked if you are going via Dubai to Jeddah, are you going to pass the miqat in the plane or after we land if we are going to onwards to Makkah?
Yeah, so if you're going to Makkah, your first destination after Jeddah is Makkah, then yes, you will make the intention of Ihram on the plane about 40 minutes before you land in Jeddah. Okay, about 40 minutes before you land in Jeddah. It will be announced, everyone will go into yani they will start saying the intention for Umrah and they will start saying Labbaik Allahumma Labbaik. So you will need your clothing on if you're a man for the Ihram before those 40 minutes. So have it prepared. If you have a stopover before that, before Jeddah, then put it on there. Or if you're going straight from London to Jeddah, you would put it on in London, the bottom part at least, and then put
Hmm.
the top part on in the plane by just taking off your shirt. You'd have it in your hand luggage, etc. Or you'd have the whole thing on from the stop, wherever that is, before Jeddah, and then you will just make the intention while you're on the plane, and then you are doing the dhikr, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, until you get to the Black Stone after that.
Yeah, very good. Sheikh, I'm going to ping some quick fire questions just because we've got quite a lot of questions and we wanted to try and answer them as much as we can. What is the difference between Tawaf al-Qudum and Tawaf when you first land in Makkah?
Okay, that is called Tawaf al-Qudum. Okay, don't worry about terminologies.
Hmm.
It's just your first tawaf. Okay, you're making tamattu. You're doing yani the Umrah and then the Hajj. You're going away with the reward of both Umrah and Hajj, not just one. Okay, so when you're doing this kind of you're doing this kind of uh type of Hajj, you might find different names. Okay, this is the Qudum, etc. The
Hmm.
other types, this is your Tawaf al Qudum, and that's your Tawaf al Hajj. But the names are not important. It's your first Tawaf on your journey of Hajj. That's what Tawaf al Qudum is.
Yeah.
Qudum just means your arrival, coming forth. So it's your first Tawaf that you're doing.
Yeah. Cool. Jazakallah khair. Rehan, if we go to Makkah first and we're going to do our Umrah before our Hajj, we're going to cut our hair, then we're going to cut our hair again on the 10th. What do you recommend in terms of like what people should do in terms of should they shave their head and shave their head again, or should they just get a trim? What do you do in that circumstance?
Last year we asked Sheikh Shaqur this when we left Medina. Um, Myself and Mustafiz were going, and we said, "Should we shave or cut?" And he said, "Well, I'll let him say what he said, but it was shaved both times." And the reasoning, Sheikh, maybe you can just allude
Yeah,
to.
yani we are sacrificing for Allah.
Hmm.
Yani we don't like to have bald heads, some of us, because we think we look very nice with our hair, etc. And yani people look better with their hair than without their hair normally, although some look good with both, mashallah. So what you're there for is reward. Prophet
Yes.
ﷺ made three du'as for those who shave their heads. Okay, so if you want to maximize your reward, you're going to shave it twice. And even if there's only a few days between the Hajj, the Umrah and the Hajj, as long as the razor goes over your head,
Hmm.
okay, even if there's hardly anything or nothing on your head, there's no growth of hair, you've still secured the reward. So why would you miss out? So for me, I've always, alhamdulillah, shaved my head twice. I've never had an issue, and inshallah, may Allah reward us and accept it.
Yeah, inshallah. Jazakallah khair. Rehan, we mentioned about the Rawdah booking, and you mentioned download the Nusuk app. Is people are asking, Muhammad's asking, is that Nusuk app different to the Nusuk that we use to book our Hajj?
Yes, it's the if you just scan the QR codes that are on the screen, those are the ones you want. Or even if you just go into your before this, Akhtar, please.
Just this one, sorry.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So just download these apps or do a basic search, um, and you'll get to the right app and you'll see that it's quite clearly for booking the Rawdah, inshallah.
Yeah, very good. Cool.
The question about the companions adding people to your Rawdah booking, I can see it.
Mm,
It's quite
mm.
related. Avoid that. Avoid that
Can you
if
just
possible.
explain what you mean by that?
So people are saying, can I add members to my Nusuk app, like my family member or my travel companions, so that we can both go together? It causes all sorts of problems. So just avoid it, please. It's much easier to each person to book their own slot, inshallah. Even if it's 20 minutes apart, it's better than trying to join it on one.
Mm. Yeah, very good. Sheikh, you mentioned about doing tawaf and you said Allahu Akbar apart from the last one or the final round, and some Mustaq said that was a bit confusing for him. Could you just clarify what you meant?
Yep. So when you start first circuit, you're about to start, you say Bismillah wallahu Akbar, palm of your hand towards the black stone. And then every time you get to the black stone of your 7 circuits, you will be putting your hand up saying Allahu Akbar as you pass level to the black stone until you've now done 7. So first one you did, second one you did, third one you did, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. When you started it, you did. So you do it at the start. Now you
Not at the
finish.
end.
Right. This, if you go around again, that would be number 8.
That's
But
right.
you don't do 8. So the pointing is only done 7 times. And so therefore, once you finish your 7th one, you're done. So there's no more pointing, and you just walk towards Maqam Ibrahim.
Okay, perfect. Jazakallah khair. That is bang on 10 o'clock. So we are going to stop there, inshallah. I think we've covered pretty much all of your questions, inshallah. And there's a few others that are related to sessions that are coming up. So I want to pause on those for today, inshallah. I want to remind brothers and sisters that we have a session Tuesday about some of the logistical, more operational related issues where some of these questions that you've asked today. So that will be immediately after Maghrib. So at that time, we'll be starting the session at 9 p.m. inshallah. So
UK time.
yes, UK time, perfect. Yeah, so do have a look out for that. Do join us for that Tuesday, 9 p.m. for a more logistic, operational side of a conversation around what's involved in terms of the travel and journey, and we'll try and answer some of your questions related to flights and luggage and etc. and so on, and anything you have there. Rehan, anything to add before we wrap up for today?
Yep. So what we'd like you to do, guys, is actually for your diaries so that you can schedule some time for yourselves. Every Tuesday and every Thursday night, we'll be having webinars on Hajj. So, and there may even be a couple of extra ones in between that as well. But what you can pencil into your diaries now is every Tuesday, around 9 o'clock, and every Thursday around 9 o'clock for 1 hour, we'll have a session, inshallah. And there may be an extra pop-up session during the week as well. And Shaykh Shaqur will be joining us for most of the session as well. So all of the teachings, and we will definitely, I'm getting some messages on my phone, we will definitely be going through the rites of Hajj. So before we travel and while we're there as well, we'll definitely be going through the rites of Hajj. So don't worry about that. We're breaking it down so that you've got one topic per week so that you can take notes, ask questions. A lot of you are on the WhatsApp groups now, so you can actually ask questions, and Sheikh Shakur will be joining the group as well. So if there's any fiqh questions or Islamic questions, we can direct them to the Sheikh, inshallah.
Yeah, perfect. Jazakallah khair. Brothers and sisters, thank you for joining Shaykh Shakur. As per usual, blessed and honored to have you with us. May Allah reward you and bless you. Jazakallah khair. And likewise to you, Rayhan, as well. And to you, brothers and sisters, thank you for joining us, inshallah. And as soon as we're able to, we will share this recording for those who have missed it so they can catch up. We'll end there. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa atubu alayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
So.